Welcome to episode 2 of the Music Minds podcast. My name is Tony Fennell, and joining me is my co-host, John Stone. How are you, sir?
All right. How are you doing, Tony?
Lovely. We had storms last night. How about you? Terrible?
Yeah, we had a little bit of rain down here, and the sky was pretty ominous. I got a few pictures of it and stuff. It's like we did, you never think, oh, you're going to have a tornado in Brooklyn, but we did have one a few years back, so you always have to worry about that now.
Well, we talk about the air being distorted. Today's episode, you like the segue here? Today's episode is called Social Media Distortion, or in other words, how you make money on social media's big boys, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you know the guys. Mm-hmm. So strap yourself in, John, and let's kick it off with YouTube. With over 1.3 billion daily users, YouTube offers instant access to one of the largest audiences on the internet to video content producers. The best part is you can create your own channel, it's free, and guess what? Musicians can make money on it. Well, some musicians. YouTube has actually propelled songs to mainstream success. You've only got to look at Psy's hit Gangnam Style. I mean, that has a staggering 3.29 billion views. Gucci Gang, The Race, Rubbing Off the Pain, all of these songs went from YouTube viral status to Billboard Hot 100, and let's face it, it launched the artist to stardom. What do you think about this phenomenon, mate?
Well, it is the place where you can do that. It's the number one video platform on Earth, obviously. And as you said, billions of views, billions of viewers, hundreds of millions of subscribers. It's really where you can start from scratch as an artist and get your music out there. Those of us that remember the old days of MTV, way back when they actually showed music videos, music became a visual medium. And then in the internet era, when you had MySpace, those of us who can remember that was also a place where bands and artists could put their music up. And that was really the first place where you could get people to sign on and become your friend, so to speak, before we had, of course, Facebook, and follow your career and that sort of thing. So YouTube is just the next step in that. And as we'll talk about a little bit later, the founders of YouTube did envision it sort of being, America's funniest home videos on the internet. Right. Take a video of grandma at the family reunion and put it up there and everybody could share and see and all that. They also understood that wasn't going to be what made YouTube what it is into today. They needed to have it as a platform for sharing content, particularly copyrighted content, film clips, television bits, all that sort of thing. That was what was going to take it into the future. So when you're talking about an artist right now, an independent artist putting their stuff out there, I know from my experience in music publishing, I get briefs from big music supervisors, people that work on big TV shows, films, etc. They're sending along saying, we'd like to get music that's similar to this. They send me YouTube links, because that's where you're seeing and hearing the content. So them, the music supervisors as tastemakers, are looking for these things on they're able to find it. They have all the algorithms on YouTube that say, well, if you like this, you'll like this, that sort of thing. So they really have an opportunity to find this music, see it, hear it, even if you only have a few thousand streams, which is a lot for any indie, but it's going to get out there. And if you can get YouTube to promote it and put it toward the front, and if somebody has a subscription to it, and YouTube knows from what you viewed before, what you're interested in seeing, it's great for that. Now, that said, if you are an artist and somebody else uses your music, that is a little bit of a different story, because then you are only earning royalties on a very, very, as they call it, a micro penny level. And micro penny is just what it means. It ain't nothing. And you're not going to make a living having other people putting your music into their videos. Even if you've got people that are getting a lot of traction and a lot of views, your return on that is very low. And it's up to you. It's up to you to monitor it yourself. So it's a tough row.
I was going to ask you about the money. I mean, surely, mate, getting tens of millions of views on YouTube can lead to riches, right? I mean, after all, every time someone clicks on my video, I get paid. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yes.
And the dreams are shattered right there.
And
Thank
the
you,
dreams
John.
are shattered, yes. So your per stream, anytime somebody clicks on there and looks at something that's using your song, your per stream royalty is, let's see, $0.00069, or that would be 69/100ths of a cent per stream. And it had gone up to point, and it's the worst in the industry. When you talk about Spotify, when you talk about Napster, of all things, they still exist. When you talk about the other streaming platforms where you're listening to music, audio only, or if you're doing video, etc., YouTube pays the worst. They had actually gone up to 74/100ths of a cent earlier this year, but then somehow I guess that was too much money, so they went back to 69.
So you're telling me my 100 likes this month is not going to pay my mortgage. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
That might not even pay for the stamp to send you the check. To make $1,000 on YouTube, you would need just under 1.5 million.
Come
streams. Million. Now, how many people have that? So basically, if you're doing the old, gimmick of, oh, let me sit here and just keep clicking on the video and I'll make money. Listen, by the time you got to anything worth a check, your arm would have fallen off, and you won't even have made enough to be able to get it sewn back on. So it's not going to get you there when you're talking about third parties. So what happens is, let's say somebody says, "Ooh, I love this song by the so and so's. I'm going to use it in my video, or I'm going to re-record it and I'm going to sing it myself, something like that, and post that." You, as the so-and-sos or the writer of that song, it's up to you to find that. You're going to then have to notify YouTube, and YouTube is then going to say, okay, we'll start collecting on this. They can also collect, so that video, which has not been created by you, that video can have advertising revenue coming into it. It can have all kinds of other revenue for that particular content creator, that video creator, subscribers. You can click, when you comment on a new release or a video that's come up or a live stream, you can pay to have your comments higher. So there's all kinds of ways for the content, the video creator, to make money, not so much for you as the artist, with the music. So it's
interesting,
tough.
John. If somebody does a birthday party video and they stick my track on it, I'm entitled to the cash, right? But I have to then inform YouTube. It's not an automatic thing.
Right. You have to you set up with them, and they have a content ID. It's called a portal, which you basically say, this is my song. I have the rights to it. I should be getting some compensation for that. You can also go in and collect the ad revenue for it if you want to. They can go in and say, no, I want to be able to get the advertising revenue that's coming in from that. But it's not easy. And actually, one of the societies also, now there was a deal that was made between the performing rights societies and YouTube, ASCAP, BMI, etc., ASCAP in particular, that collects performance, because when it's a viewable video by anybody that wants to click on it, that becomes a public performance. There's a way to make small amounts of money. Again, nobody's making their mortgage on this, as you said, but then ASCAP also has to then go in and identify the song and say, this song is one of our clients, one of the people that uses ASCAP to collect performance for them, and you have to do it. And I love this. I went to ASCAP to look this up, and it was, they signed this deal. ASCAP is doing this work, but as ASCAP said themselves on their website, when in the frequently asked questions, Content ID, which is the way you identify music content on the on YouTube to collect income from, Content ID is not perfect. So you say, okay, VW is not perfect, but it's a way to get around. You always have something positive to say after that, right? No, Content ID is not perfect, but it is the only system that YouTube makes available for monetizing music and YouTube videos.
Wow.
So, they're basically, even they're throwing up their arms and going, this is the best we could do. Sorry.
It's pretty interesting, though, because the top 5 richest YouTubers 2019. It is quite staggering, the amount of cash. I mean, Daniel Middleton, who was the head guy, I guess, earnings $16.5 million, subscribers 21 million. That is not chump change. You know, this guy, Logan Paul, who's like a real famous vlogger, earnings 12.5 million, subscribers 19 million. What on earth does this? In fact, I know what this guy does. I actually saw the other day, he had a fight on YouTube. Just the fight alone, right? So he fought KSI, one of the other guys, another vlogger. These two guys went at it. $11 million.
Yeah.
I mean, there's money in there. So
they're professional boxers that don't make that.
Ain't that the truth, brother?
Well, and let's put that in perspective. So the NMPA, the National Music Publishers Association, which is a trade organization that represents publishing companies, music publishing companies, they had their own YouTube deal. They finally made one because YouTube was very resistant. And again, I'll talk about this in a moment. NMPA made a deal back in, I believe it was 2016. They settled with YouTube. Now, you just said $12 million, $11 million here, bam, bam, just for a couple of these video creators, right?
Yeah.
The YouTube settlement for all the music up to that point that had been used on YouTube without permission, that settlement, $40 million.
Come on.
Now, your top 5 creators, video creators, made more money than all the music artists, all the music writers that had their music basically infringed on YouTube. And, you know, so tell me where is the fairness? Where is the balance in this whole thing?
There isn't a balance. And the problem is, John, if they could have said, well, we're giving you nothing. Come and find us. So basically, it was like, you know, a little bit of a handout, and a lot of people just went, "I'll take it because this is probably as good as it's going to get," and it can't be as good. It cannot be as good as it's going to get because it's wrong. It's wrong that they're paying musicians absolute a pittance. It makes no sense to me, and they're allowed to get away with it. Why? Because they can.
Yeah. And, you know, you're talking about YouTube. When you talk about other platforms like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, there are no global deals there. There are no means for you to be able to, they're starting to sort of move toward that, and a few deals have been struck with like some of the major companies, Universal, Sony, et cetera. This is with Facebook and Instagram and some of the major indies, but it's being done piecemeal. So if you're an independent artist and suddenly, let's say you wrote this kick-ass song, and I'm sure you have plenty of those in your roster there, Tony.
I wish.
Tony Fennell, you've written a kick-ass song. Somebody hears it on your channel. You put it up there just so that it's, wow, I love this. You can grab the audio from that. I can throw that into my own video, say, doing my own thing, you know, BMX biking or, you know, ATVing or whatever the hell you want.
Yep.
And boom, your channel, because your channel gets tons of views. Tony, yours is, you know, gets decent, but certainly nowhere compared to this other individual. Right. And bam, if you don't know that that's been taken, because they, of course, didn't need to tell you, they took it and did it whatever they wanted.
Sure.
You got to go find that. And you got to then tell YouTube, hey, wait a minute, my song's being used, you got to pay me some money, and then set that whole thing up. So it's really tough. If you're not going to make a living off of this. It's impossible. The people who make the videos, sure, they will, but you know, the ones who are the big stars. Yeah. But you as a songwriter, et cetera, unless your music takes off on its own, you're going to have a hard time. And let's not even talk about the existing music that's out there that's being used that nobody has seen or heard. You have to then identify it. You have to be able to lay claim to it. It's so many, you know, winds and blowing against you to prevent you from actually making this work. It's not funny. I just want to touch on one thing quickly before we sort of put a button on YouTube. Back in 2005, so YouTube got sued by, I believe it was Viacom, for ripping off content. And they, as part of this whole lawsuit that was going on, they, in discovery, found some emails that had been going back and forth between the founders of YouTube. That's Steve Chen, Chad Hurley, and Jawed Karim. And they, back in 2005, when it was at the very beginning and YouTube had just started to pop up a little bit, to get some more traction and stuff, they understood from the very beginning how they were going to make their bread and butter. Steve Chen sent an email when they were talking about a competing video website, and he said, when referring to known content, existing content, TV shows and films and stuff. He said, steal it. And one of the others said, you mean steal the movies? And Steve Chen replied, we have to keep in mind that we need to attract traffic. How much traffic will we get from personal videos, grandma at the barbecue? Remember, the only reason why our traffic surged was due to video of this type, meaning copyrighted content, existing films and stuff. Viral videos will tend to be those types of videos. 14 years ago, now we see that in its fruition. And so they knew from the beginning, there's only going to be one way you can make stuff, happen here. You've got to create and take and use stuff that's already out there and has quality and everything like that, and then bring that into your videos and turn them into viral videos. So yeah, it's definitely there.
Well, social in general. Maybe a lot of artists aren't making a lot of money from YouTube. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule, as I just pointed out earlier with some of these guys. But Instagram, it's not really music per se, but it's no slouch. Its users have grown 10 times over the last 5 years. It exceeds 1 billion users monthly, 500 million daily users. I mean, crazy numbers. Young adults love Instagram. 71% of its users are under 35. Now, the reason I just pointed that out is because Instagram users spend an average of 53 minutes per day on that app. This gives you time to sell. It's like, it is one of those places where people just love to look. And Instagram is a great place to sell garbage, basically. Instagram top 5 musicians, Ariana Grande, 159 million. Selena Gomez, 153 million. Beyonce, 129 million. I mean, they're again, crazy numbers, but it's a good place to sell your wares, is it not?
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. And again, you have to have that following. You have to cultivate that following on your own. They'll do some, tricks here and there to help you, but at the end of the day,
that's a full-time job, John. That's a full-time job.
Yeah, and then on these pages, you have advertising that's earning them revenue. You have other means also. There, Facebook and Instagram are also, and by the way, they're the same thing because Facebook owns Instagram. They're experimenting with new ways of getting earnings for these content creators and such. But again, where's the musicians? Where are they getting? Where are the writers, the songwriters? Where are they getting theirs? If it's a third party using your stuff, and we had talked about this a little bit ago, Tony. Social media wants to be like traditional media. They want to be the film studios. They want to, YouTube Red. They want to create. YouTube is creating its own content now. I don't know how successful that is because when you basically create a platform where everybody can watch stuff for free, why would you pay for it?
That's right.
Why not give it a shot? Who knows? You have enough money, for heaven's sake. But they want to create, they want to take the place of these, not take their place, but they want to be another participant. And they see the success of the Netflixes and the Hulus and the Amazon Primes of the world. Yep. So they want to be in there. They want to be in the mix. But the thing is, those companies, the networks and the film studios and the streaming platforms that are using copyrighted content legally, they have infrastructure in place to be able to pay out. These companies never had that and never set that up, and they don't want to deal with that. Now, it's hard enough to get a royalty statement or get a payout, get a performance income statement from ASCAP or whatnot, and read it and have it make heads or tails, be able to make heads or tails out of it, because it's all so complicated. Imagine trying to do that from Logan Paul or somebody who's getting millions of streams, and you have to get paid out. Do you think you're going to get a fair and accurate depiction of how your earnings are coming in and where you're getting those from? Right. So, if they want to be like the bigs, like the traditional media who have infrastructure in place to be able to do this and be able to pay out properly, even if it's somewhat hard, you at least have some feeling and you can audit them and you can do whatever you need to on your end as a creator, as a music creator or whatnot. How are you going to get that out of YouTube or Facebook or whatnot? Who built their entire platforms on basically doing things on the sly, and not having to be as transparent as, even though they love to say how transparent they are. Now, mind you, let's just do one quickie here. Annual ad revenue, just advertising revenue on YouTube alone, estimated in 2015, 4 years ago, $8 billion.
Good
okay?
Lord.
Facebook's earnings. Now, in 2018, Facebook took a bit of a hit with the Cambridge Analytica thing and the whole, the fallout from the 2016 presidential campaign, et cetera. Facebook's earnings in fourth quarter of 2018, $16.9 billion.
That's just crazy numbers.
If they say, well, we don't have the way, we don't know how to do that, we can't figure that out, nonsense. They certainly have enough money coming in to be able to say, all right, we need to set up a proper reporting platform and give artists a little bit more money. Let's give these musicians and these songwriters and artists some more money because there's only so much money that you can spend in your lifetime, Mark Zuckerberg and who not, we should be able to spread the love a little bit here, especially when you're making your bones off of copyrighted content.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if I touch on one of the last of the big boys here, Twitter. Check these numbers out. Total number of active Twitter users, 326 million. Total number of tweets sent per day, 500 million, which is it's just mental. The top 5, Katy Perry, right? She's got 107 million followers, and they rate her economic value at $146,000 plus.
Yeah.
And the story is that Katy Perry was actually given her $25 million wage packet to judge American Idol because of the strength of her Twitter account. And yeah, you've got to believe that that's right. You can make money. I mean, here's the other type of money you can earn. Snoop Dogg, every time he does an endorsement tweet, $8,000 a pop. Jared Leto, 30 Seconds to Mars, per tweet, $13,000. That is proper money, and is that the only? Maybe it's the only platform that actually pays out. But I will say this, John, and this is something we haven't touched on, and it's just occurred to me. The internet surely has relaunched the careers of most of those 80s bands that were on MTV and VH1. I mean, that stuff dies away. I mean, you go to YouTube and you go, Billy Idol. And all of a sudden, you're looking up Billy Idol and Billy Idol's getting hit 2 million, 3 million times. All of a sudden, he's got a residency back in Vegas. Yeah. I mean, that is partially down to YouTube. It's that real catch-22 situation. You want to hate it, but you need it.
Well, and of course, and that's a perfect example of the dual-edged sword here of, yes, this can bring an artist back out. And that's an argument that somebody like, one of these top earners and stuff, oh, my video has 12 million views. I used your song. Maybe I didn't attribute it. Maybe, but maybe no one knows who you are. But I can make you a star just by virtue of the fact that it's on my channel. Okay, that's fine. But there's still got to be some kind of compensation that's coming through to you by virtue of your rights. Your content, your music is being used. That's all well and good. You don't have the right to say yay or nay to it. You can send a takedown notice, sure, if you don't like, if you're a vegan, okay, and they're putting it over, pictures of steak and something like that, sure, you have every right to do that. They have that right in traditional media as well. Yeah. But you have to track that stuff down. And YouTube will say, oh, you have to have copyrighted material. If you have copyrighted material in this, you have to have permission for it. You have to do this. But is anybody really minding the store on that? I mean, is anybody really paying attention? They know where they're making their money.
Great point, John. Great point.
So you have to trust. There's a lot of trust that, may not be warranted. And at the end of the day, it's a great platform. It has massive numbers of viewers. It has massive following. It's the primary way that people find things. I mean, remember, it's attached to Google. So when you Google something, pretty much every time YouTube somehow is going to come up, first, because it's the first place. I think it is the first place and the primary place that people consume music. So, at the end of the day, you can't ignore the fact that it's such a big presence and it's such a primary way for people to access your music that there has to be something there. And look, nobody's saying I want $1 million every time someone puts my video up. Of course not. But there's got to be something something that can be done to make it a little bit easier for people to say, if my work is being used, I am getting some sort of compensation and some sort of value out of that. Because $12 million for a guy who makes videos about himself fighting some other guy versus an artist making $1,000 for 1.5 million views, that is just not fair. And at the end of the day, you've got to acknowledge that you are now in the scene. You are now a part of the media world. Yeah. These platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, they have now grown exponentially. I mean, we look at them, we're only talking about 10 years ago that none of them really were of any major influence. Now they are everywhere. And
yes, they are.
I would say they could even be exceeding the influence. Uh-oh. I think they found me. Yeah. They could be exceeding the influence and power, frankly, of traditional media outlets, television, radio, film companies, record labels, all of those that have existed for many, many decades. They are now facing and having to confront these new entities and new ways that people consume content. And look, if you're going to accept the rewards, reap the rewards of that, you got to take the responsibility. You got to recognize that the real creators, the people that don't just create funny, goofy videos that have millions of followers, but the people that spend their heart and their blood and their sweat and their tears and their money to create real music and real content, you got to give them something back, because it's not fair otherwise,
Yeah, mate. I mean, we literally could go on for 15 hours. Never mind a 35-minute podcast. But John, as always, mate, you're a wealth of knowledge. We're going to dig deeper and deeper as the weeks go by. I want to thank everybody for listening and spending some time with us today. You can find more episodes on how to reach us at our website, musicmindspodcast.com. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. And John, thanks again, brother. As always, superstar.
Thank you, Tony.
You got it, man.